Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show. Today, we have an exciting guest. We're not going to talk about him right now, but I'm going to talk about my co-host. All the way from Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Sooners. Before we have you introduce yourself, I'm going to talk about this product, but that's why you're here. You're here to represent a brand new product, a pain relief lotion. I've tried it. And people that know me and follow me know my journey through pain and suffering with these knees. This is a great new product that you have definitely invented, all natural, plant-based. But before we get into that, tell me exactly who you are. Tell the viewers who you are.
Well, I'm Ashley Rawson, and I'm thrilled to be here, Andre. Thank you so much for inviting me to Indianapolis to be here. Just thrilled. And I own Earth Island, as you were talking about. It is an all-natural pain relief cream that is a natural anti-inflammatory. There is a lot of power in plants. This is plant-based. And I have just found plants have a really great healing power, and it's a concentrated formula that really helps with pain and inflammation all over the body.
How long was this in the making? Because clearly a lot of us suffer from pain and we want something that's all natural. Let's get real. I don't want to put a lot of chemicals on my body, in my body. How long has this been in the making? I know there's been a need for it.
Well, I had no idea how much chemicals we were putting on our bodies, first and foremost, until I started down a journey with a loss of a family member to a condition that can be helped with plants. And so I began researching plants, what they do for the body, and a lot of the things that we use on a daily basis and what they add to those formulas that we put on our bodies. And so I created Earth Island, which is pure plant-based, and we did not add anything ugly or nasty to it. It's a beautiful thing to put on your body.
We're going to get back into that later. But who, outside of this company, who is Ashley Rawson?
Well, Ashley Rawson is a very driven and rebuilt entrepreneur who I strive to find a source for remedies. And that's from my own pain and suffering through alcoholism, which I've been able to recover from one day at a time, and trauma and pain. I realized on this journey that I've been running from myself with no destination in sight.
Man, that is like totally deep. Hold on to that thought, because let me explain to you what today's show is about, since you're my co-host for the day. This young man beside me, a story beyond belief. When you talk about pain and trauma in your product, we've all have that stored in us, that pain and that trauma, and trying to find relief isn't always in a formula. It's sometimes really recognizing what the trauma is and putting motion into action with this thing. Today on the show, we have a young man who's definitely has taken trauma and turned it into opportunities. His own clothing line, his own entertainment. If there's a such thing as Turner Broadcasting, CBS, Fox, there's a new player in the game. Good Vibes owner, founder, developer, the one, the only, Keith Lee.
I'm here. Andre, you got me here. I hope you know what you finna get yourself in store with today.
I got 30 minutes to deal with you.
You know, I need. Okay, I'm gonna take all that 30 minutes too. I'm telling you.
Before we get started, Keith, tell the viewers a little bit about who Keith is before we get into your beautiful journey.
So Keith Lee Jr., the man himself. You know, my journey started, or should I say, it took shape after I dealt with, you know, a body condition that, you know, many people have died from.
What's that?
So my appendix ruptured.
Yeah, I had a family member that had not gone to the doctor.
My appendix ruptured, and the thing that changed my persona and my perception on life and stuff like that, it's like for the doctor to say one sentence. That's all I needed to hear. He said, if you didn't get here when you did, me and you wouldn't be having a conversation.
That's scary.
So it ruptured before you got to the hospital?
It ruptured while I was in the hospital.
Oh, heavens.
So I knew something was going on with my stomach. I knew something was going on, but this was like a 2-day situation. I'm a DJ and an entertainer, so it's like I was DJing an event when this was going on. A friend of mine she was a nurse. She's a nurse, and she said, I mean, she seen the way I keep holding my stomach, and I'm like, listen, this just hurt. She said, maybe you got gas.
What were some of the things before you get into that? What were some of the symptoms that you was feeling so the viewers are kind of...
It's just the pain, like the pain itself. I mean, the pain itself, I just kept holding my side, my right side. I just kept holding my side. Even while I was playing music, I just kept holding my side because I'm like, dude, this pain just won't go away. So, you know, we all take your normal everyday aspirin or Tylenol or stuff like that for pain. So I did the same thing. But me being a DJ, I looked at it like, okay, I got probably 3 more hours left.
Right. You
to
got to
perform.
work. You got to work.
So it was like, on top of the Tylenol I drunk 3-4 cans of Red Bull. And listen, that I mean,
crunk for
and
real.
listen, that I didn't feel it no more. But it was still there. So the thing that happened was we left from that place, and then we ended up, like I said, with my friend. She's a nurse, and she just saw the way I kept holding my stomach, and she say, "Man, you all right?" And I'm like, listen, my stomach just keep hurting. And like, maybe I ate something, maybe something else wrong. She said, maybe you got gas. Laugh all you want. But listen, I thought the same thing after she said it. Like, oh, she said, when the last time you had a bowel movement? And I was like,
It's been that long.
She said, if you can't answer the question, then that's the problem.
Right.
So I say, okay, fine. Maybe, I don't know, it probably been like two days or so. I ain't been able to go. And she was like, you might get gas. So we went up to, Walgreens, and we went into the store. So this is the funny part of the story. Well, part of the funniest part. Walking to the store, she took me to the aisle, and she said, milk of magnesia. Everybody know that is, a laxative. We know that. So milk of magnesia, but then she picked up another one. It was called magnesium citrate.
I love that stuff.
And listen, so... Call the lady, one of the workers from Walgreens, walk over, and I say, hey, listen, man, which one of these is going to do the job? She say, one of y'all has got gas. I say, listen, why is that important? I just want to know which one going to do the job. So what happened was I asked her, she said, this one, she pointed at the milk of magnesia. She said, this is going to do the job. And then she pointed at the magnesium citrate. She said, this is the worst. And I say, what you mean by the worst? She said, you're going to feel everything that's coming.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, so which one I need? And she said, this one going to do the job. This one is the worst. And I say, okay, just give me the magnesium citrate. So I'm like, I ain't a punk to pain. I'm like, I'm going through it right now.
Yeah.
This can't be no worse. So what happened was I took it. And while we driving, the lady I told about that was a nurse, she also had a bar. So we went to her bar. Me and my brother, we went to her bar, and she got a pool table. I say, okay, we'll just go to your bar, shoot pool until I know it's about to come. Mm-hmm. She said, yeah, that's cool, because we close anyway, so you can come to the bar. Fine. While I'm riding with her, I drunk the bottle.
Which flavor did you have?
I can't tell you. I just picked up one. I drunk the bottle, and then she looked at me like, what you just do? I say, what? She said, you weren't supposed to drink it yet. I say, why? She say, because you supposed to be at home when you drink it.
Yeah.
I'm
Something's
like,
about to happen.
Oh.
Yes.
She said, and then you drunk the whole thing. I'm like, listen, it didn't say how much not to drink. Oh. So I drunk the whole little bottle. The bottle wasn't so big.
The whole bottle, yeah.
The bottle wasn't so big, but I drank the whole thing. And then like I said, we went to her bar. And what happened was at the bar, think about it. If this is supposed to be the worst, that magnesium citrate supposed to be the worst. The whole time we there, we shoot pool, and eventually I feel it. the bubble. I feel it. And I say, oh, it's coming. So I run to the bathroom. Not to throw y'all off and whatever, get y'all, you know what I'm saying, kind of weak at the stomach. But yeah, I went to the bathroom and
It did a job.
one little thing came out.
Oh.
Looked like a
Houston, we
looked
have a
like a
problem.
rabbit pellet.
Did you drink water behind it?
Mm.
So you didn't flush your system with water behind it?
No, I drunk it the way she told me. And
Okay.
it was like one little pebblet came out like it was like a rabbit pellet. Like what? Came back out and she said, "You good?" I say, "Listen, I don't know." She said, "Maybe it ain't worked yet. Just keep going." So we just kept shooting pool. Finally, I felt it again. Ran to the bathroom. That time, nothing came out. I say, maybe I'll just wait till I get home. Maybe it's just not my system just too strong for it. I'm gonna just wait till I get home. So I went home, went to my mom's house. Fortunately, I lived at that time right directly across the street from my mom, right across the street. And instead of me going home, I went to my mom's house. She said, "How you feeling?" I'm like, "My stomach just hurts." So I laid down on the couch. My mom went on back to bed. And then the next morning, my mom woke me up, say, "How you feeling?" I'm like, "Man, my stomach just hurt. It just still hurts." She said, "You ain't been able to go to the bathroom yet?" I say, "No, and I don't even feel like I need to." And think about it, that whole time I couldn't go to the bathroom. So my mom, she owns group homes, and one of her group homes is literally at the bottom of her hill, at the bottom of her street. So she went to that one. She said, "Let me know if you need me. I'll be right down the hill." I say, "Cool," but she gave me a aspirin. Well, you know, she like Advil. So she gave me an Advil or a Aleve, and that's my mama's go-to. So she gave me one of them. I took it. I say maybe it'll kick in. Then next thing you know, she left. My dad was getting up, and he was about to go to the VA hospital. He asked me, am I okay? I need him to take me to the hospital? I told him no. She just gave me the Advil. I'm going to see if it worked. Like, it ain't kicked in yet. My stomach still hurts. But listen, he left. Now, this is when things got interesting, because the more and more I sat there, it's like I had to hold my stomach even just to sit up. The pain was that unbearable. I had to hold my stomach just to sit up. Wow. I mean, and then just from me sitting up, like hold myself to push myself up to like sit up and watch a TV. And all of a sudden, as clear as me and you talking, I heard a voice say, "Don't go to sleep." I mean, clear as me and you talking. I'm thinking, I first thought I was tripping. I'm thinking maybe it's something, they said it on the TV. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, I know I'm the only one in the house because I know they gone.
Yeah.
Finally, I just laid back over, and then the more and more I laid over, that voice just played over and over in my head, over and over in my head, over and over in my head. And I got back up, I leaned back up, and I called my mom. I said, "Mom, I think whatever's going on is going on right now. I need to go to the hospital." So she said, "I'll be up there." So she came and picked me up, and in Cincinnati, it was a place called Urgent Care. We went there, and the lady said the doctor wasn't in yet. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning. She said the doctor wasn't in yet. And I say, "No, we got to get out here because I got to see whatever's going on. I need to see somebody now." Right. So we went to a place called Mercy Franceschi. And now it's called Mercy Health. So we went there, and soon as I got in there, and you know, you do your sign in and what's wrong, I say, "Listen, my stomach hurts really, really bad." And they saw where I was holding my stomach at. And when they put me on the gurney, took me in the back, and gave me a X-ray, he immediately said, "We got to rush him into emergency surgery." So we all sitting there thinking like, "Hold on, what are you talking about?" He said, "Ma'am," he told my mom, "Ma'am, his appendix is inflamed, and we have to catch it before it ruptures."
Because if it ruptures,
and I say, "Hold up, rupture? What do you mean, like bust open or something?" He said, "Yeah, and if that happens, your body gonna fill up with poison.
Right. You go septic and die."
And he just said, "You become septic." And he said, "Listen," his next line to me was, "If you didn't get here, me and you wouldn't be having a conversation. Many people, millions of people have died from what you're going through right now."
But just think about it like this: how many people especially people of our color who don't recognize signs with their health until it's too late. You had signs,
Yeah.
but being a man, I mean, let's get real. We feel we can handle.
We
it.
feel that tough. It's like
Yeah.
that toughness, that
Yeah.
that selfishness comes in the play of, oh, I can handle it. I'm cool. Let me put some Tylenol on it, or let me try and do something else to stop the pain.
What
And-
went through your mind when
When he said that,
when he said that? Because I'm thinking if somebody had told me that, all kind of shit's going through your
I mean,
mind.
it did, because it's like, first and foremost, that was my first surgery ever.
Okay.
And I was like, and think about that was 7 years now ago. And so now being 45, just celebrated a birthday. Woo, woo, woo,
Happy
woo,
Happy
woo.
birthday.
Bam,
Yeah, that's
bam,
right.
bam,
You did have- just
bam.
had a
Yeah,
birthday.
Libra
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So now it's like me recently just celebrating a birthday. Now 45. I was 38 when that happened, and it was just like he said. Many people have died from what I'm going through, because many people get there and it's already too late. It already ruptured, and some people that do get there when it's inflamed. Think about this surgery. From them, it's supposed to be just an outpatient surgery. You come in there, they take it out. There you go, send you right home. You should be fine. But me, I was in there for almost a month.
It was that
Almost
bad.
a month. And so my surgery time was 10 o'clock. Think about it, I told you I got there around between 9 and 10, and they said my surgery time was 3 o'clock. I got there at 10. If it's emergency surgery, 3 o'clock ain't emergency surgery. That was 5 hours later. I had to be there just waiting on the surgery time. So within sitting there I was put to sleep. Sitting there during that time, it ruptured. So think about, my window was very short.
Goodness.
And that's what,
Did they have a surgeon on? Did they have to call a surgeon? There was no surgeon on call.
I really can't answer that question, only because, like I said, I was asleep. I was under anesthesia that whole time, and I didn't wake up till the next day.
When you woke up, what was that like?
When I wake up in the hospital, and I think this is pretty much anybody, I woke up in the hospital in a bed by myself in a room,
Now that's scary.
and none of my family members is there. Nobody's there to tell me what's went on, what happened, why I'm in the hospital. Think about it, the last thing I remember was I was DJing a party. So what's going through my head was, and that was good that you asked me a question, what was going through my head was, I lift up my shirt, I know my stomach hurts, and I raise my gown up, and then I see 3 patches on my stomach. First thought that came to my head was I had to get shot. Because I got 3 patches on my stomach, and I don't know why I'm in here. I just woke up in here. And finally, ring the nurse. The nurse finally came in, and that's when she said, do you remember why you're here? I said, Lynn, I need you to tell me why I'm in here. Did I get shot last night? And she said, no, sir. Do you remember anything about yesterday? And I say, I was DJing a party. And think about it, I really wasn't DJing the party.
So
I
did
was
they-
already done with the party.
Do they think that maybe during that time of waiting on the surgeon to come in, it probably erupted to the degree that
The surgery was already over.
really?
By the time I woke up, the surgery was already over.
But I'm saying, do you think that maybe some of the effects of the appendix, the poison or something,
Yeah,
may have
so-
triggered your
So
memory loss?
between the time, like I said, my surgery time was 3 o'clock. I was in there at 10. So 5 hours I was sitting there. But that whole time I was sedated. So 5 hours I was asleep. But think about it, I was really asleep for almost a day and a half, because I didn't wake up till the next day. And it was just like, to wake up and know you got these patches on your stomach, and wait a minute, everything could have been over last night, or everything could have been over yesterday. Because think about it, I don't remember when I even came in here. I looked at it like, wait a minute.
When somebody did show up,
When my family finally showed up, I was told then that they sent my family home, because at that time the hospital was overcrowded. They didn't even. I didn't have a room. I was in the hallway. Now this is the Lord, and this is the only way I can say it in this manner. This is the Lord. I know it is, because while I'm in the hallway, thinking about I'm asleep the whole time, they sent my family home because they didn't have a room. So they told my family, once we get in a room, we'll call you, let you know we got him a room. Mm-hmm. But little enough, my cousin wife worked in the same hospital, and she ended up seeing my name on the chart. So she called him, say, what's your cousin's name? And he told her, and she said, he here right now. He said, for what? She said, his appendix rupture. He said, what? What's going on? And she told him everything, and she said, he's right now in the hallway waiting on the room. And she pulled every string she could. Think about it. That could have possibly jeopardized her practice.
Yeah.
She pulled every string she possibly could to get me the very next room available. And by her grace, I was able to get the next room.
So after you get done with a major surgery, life-threatening surgery, they just stuck you in a hallway.
I was in the hallway.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking about infection, people walking by.
I was in the hallway.
You just had a surgery.
I was in the hallway with patches on my stomach. But like I said, did I wake up in that hallway, or was I in that hallway after the surgery, or was I just in that hallway before the surgery?
Right, you really don't know, yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
But like I said, when I wake up, and I'm in the room by myself. But like I said, it was explained once my family did show up. Like, I've never cursed my mom, ever, not one time have had it said a cuss word to my mom, because we all know that you get backhand slapped, like, you know what I'm saying.
You ain't gonna get backhand slapped. You might get put out the house to the graveyard.
Right,
quick.
cool. And it's like that was the very first time that happened, because I was so mad that I feel like y'all left me in this hospital. If y'all knew I was in this hospital, why are y'all not here? And that's when they explained to me, like, no, they told us to go home because they didn't have a room. And the nurse said it too. But during that time, I was on multiple IV bags, multiple antibiotics, pain medicines, blood clot,
the anesthesia itself,
blood
the side
clot
effects.
medicine. I was on stool softener. I was on ankle monitors to keep my blood flowing at my ankles, stuff like that. So it's like waking up and connected to all of that.
Yeah,
I'm like, what's going on? Plus, like, I can't get out the bed because the bed is on a monitor to make sure I don't get out the bed without help. And then finally, they tell me all this stuff, and they was like, listen, all we need you to do now is use the bathroom.
Use the bathroom, yeah.
Listen, that's all they waited for me on for almost a month, to use the bathroom. But during that time, my body went through so much. So much. I messed up many sheets, many clothes, because I wasn't able to make it to the bathroom. Once I was able to finally start going, I wasn't able to make it to the bathroom, because think about how much stuff they have to take off of me just to get to the bathroom. And eventually, when they took me off the bed monitor, I was able to take everything off myself, but the bathroom is too far away. Too far, even though it's right there, it's too far away to me get to, and I know I got to take off this, that, and the third. But then eventually, during that time, I think I was probably 12, 13, maybe 14 days in, and I end up having a seizure. And now, my family don't have a history of seizure. Found out one of the antibiotics I was on, it raised the risk of a seizure. So they took me off of that antibiotic instantly. So from that point on, my body had to heal off that one bag, and I needed that other bag.
You know what the tricked out part about that is? You don't know what you're allergic to. I had almost the same scenario. Not to take away from your story, but I had the same scenario when I went to go get a cortisone shot in my knee. Mm-hmm. And it wound up giving me a stroke. Oh. But the thing was, and I didn't even know I had a stroke. I literally thought I felt the numbness.
Yeah.
But I'm still in the gym pumping iron.
Yeah.
And I noticed my eye kept drooping. I said, well, let me put a cold compress on it. Then I started getting severe headaches, man, like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And long story short, what it boiled down to was I had an allergic reaction to hydrocorticosteroid that caused me to have a stroke. Wow. When I approached the doctor, well, they didn't know.
Yeah.
You know,
they ain't going to know until it happens.
And he said, you was one of a million
that
Yeah.
could happen to. So
Yeah.
I can understand what you're going through with that.
And like even during that time, it was just I had to keep going back for CAT scans and stuff too, because they had to make sure
Monitor you,
that
absolutely.
it was out of my system. So during that time of a CAT scan, this is the one thing I know I can remember from when I first got to the hospital. Before I went under the anesthesia and they put me to sleep, I went into the CAT scan. I know I can remember this because for one thing, going into the CAT scan and they putting the IV, putting the fluid in through my IV, the iodine, they putting it into my system, and they took me through, and I vomited in the machine.
You had a reaction to the dye.
I had a reaction to the dye, to the contrast, and I vomited in the machine, and it shut down the machine. So I messed up one of the CAT scan machines there at the hospital, and the lady kept telling me I need to stay still. I say, listen, man, I'm feeling it. Whatever's going on, I'm feeling it. She said, you're going to feel it. I say, no, I think I'm feeling it some other way. Next thing you know, it just came out, and I was halfway through the machine, so it was all in the machine. They had to then shut that machine down, take me to a different machine. But this time, it's still contrast that they putting into me. But this time, I had to drink it.
You had to drink
it was a drinking form. I still vomited that too in that second machine, but it was after they was able to at least do a full pass. I still vomited it because it was like it's still that. And finally, with the drinking form, they found out I can handle it more than the actual IV.
Okay.
So they stopped giving me the IV. I was still able to drink the drinking form, and then they started putting it into lemonade. And I was able to drink the whole lemonade and go through the whole pass without the vomit. After getting out, I still felt nausea, and it still came, just it didn't come right away like it did before. So once all that happened, like I said, get back to the room. Like I said, end up that one night. This is the first night ever my mom and dad both stayed at the room. It was always one or the other. But this the first night my mom and dad both stayed, and that's the night I had the seizure.
When they did the CAT scan, the MRI and so forth, there was no brain damage, hopefully, correct?
This was after the seizure.
Yeah.
So after the seizure, even after the seizure, there wasn't.
Okay.
I ended up having to go to a different floor though. They had to move my room to another floor, which was for brain, and they ended up putting me on a little helmet thing like I was Professor X-Man, and it was like the lady said, just relax, close your eyes, and then tell me what you see. Like just let me know where you see something.
Electromagnetic.
And it was going from
energy,
there.
yeah.
So she just like every time I saw something, she was like, just raise your hand, put it up where it's at. And I'm like, okay, fine. But then it almost caused me to have another seizure.
Is that what they were trying to do? Was induce
They
one?
was trying to make
see
it
what
happen
was going on
to
with your
see
brain?
where it started. So they was with the flashing lights that was in that machine. They was trying to make me have a seizure.
Oh, run a map.
Yeah.
Brain map.
And then they'd have been able to see what caused me to have that seizure earlier. And when it happened, they shut the machine down immediately. And it was
So they
like
found it.
It was like, wow. I'm like, the next thing you know, they was like, what did you see? I was like, listen, I can't tell you what I saw. All I saw was in like a little, it was black space with nothing but flashing lights. That's all I saw.
Have you had one since then?
No.
Praise God.
And they, like I said, they took me off of that antibiotic that caused me to have the seizure, because one of the side effects for that antibiotic I was on, it said it raises the risk of seizure. And so they immediately took me off of it. So like I said, during that time I was in the hospital, I think it was like 28 days. I had to then, my body had to heal itself off of that one IV, even though I needed that second. So in the hospital, I lost probably 20 pounds. I was on nothing but a liquid diet the whole time.
How did that change your, I know that's 28 days. How did that change your perspective on life?
I mean,
Seeing all this.
Listen, I told you, everything could have been over that one day. Everything could have been over. As much that stuff that I want to do in life, see in life, visit, all of that could have ended that day. And that's how I look at life now. everything could have been over that day. You know how some people got bucket lists and stuff. Now they living on edge because of they done went through a life-changing experience. It don't even have to be a life-threatening. It could just been a life-changing experience. And now they saying, listen, I'm finna live my best life now. Think about it, you got people, not even young people, but old people. Or let me flip that around, not to say just old people do that or old people go through that saying, listen, I want to live my life 60, 70, 80 years old. Now you out there living. You got young people also that have went through this, because even with what I went through, even from finding out, young people have died from appendix. Even kids, babies, infants, toddlers have died from appendix. And so people always told me I needed to tell my story. Because, like, basically, I'm a walking testimony of what other people can't tell the story of. And I had a guy, not to mention the name, but I had a director that was going to make a film out of me and what I went through within my DJ career and within my health troubles. Because even before the appendix, years and years prior, I also suffered a minor stroke.
You did too?
And they called it a TIA.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like they was able to catch it while it was happening. So this was in Cincinnati. I end up saying the same scenario. I'm DJing an event, and my arm just kept tensing up on me. And all I do is stretching it out like it ain't nothing. Like, oh no, I got a whole lot of party to do. So here we go again. Now this is my second Red Bull story. I drink a Red Bull, then drink another Red Bull, then drink another Red Bull.
You want to give a shout out to Red Bull so you can get some money?
Hey, listen, I used to Red Bull was my friend back then. Like back then when I was on living that life as a tour DJ and my DJ is my career, entertainment my career, music my career, producing is my career. It's like Red Bull was my friend. Coffee wasn't. Even though they say, like, just drink a coffee. It's the same as what you're drinking with the Red Bull. Just drink a coffee. So just drink a coffee. It's more better for you to just drink a coffee. Cool. But I wasn't drinking a coffee. I'll take a Red Bull over coffee. So, like I said, that day, I went through like 6 Red Bulls because it kept tightening up. All night kept tightening up. But by the time I got all that energy in my system, I didn't feel it no more until I got home and woke up the next morning. Now my whole arm was asleep.
Wow.
But it felt like, your arm feel like you slept on the wrong, is numb. So I lean up, talk to my mom on the phone, tell her like, oh yeah, just feel like it's sleep. I'm shaking my arm like, okay, and it wasn't doing anything. And so I just sat up and just sat there and and I just kept shaking my arm, but I couldn't feel nothing in that left arm. And I was like, Mom, I need to go to the hospital now. So I drove myself to the hospital because the hospital was like literally maybe 500, maybe 1,000 feet away from where I lived at the time. My apartment was right down the street from the hospital. So I took myself to the hospital. They took me to the x-ray. And while I was in the x-ray, my mom finally showed up. And the lady said, look at his face. And during that time, my mom walked in. She said, what's going on with my son? And she said, ma'am, look at his face. I think he's having a stroke right now. Because my face started doing all the drooping and stuff like that and drooling, and I couldn't stop it. I can't touch it except with my right hand. I couldn't stop it. It was like, I couldn't stop doing it. And so now this was a teaching experience for them because I think at the time they also had like some kids or like a school that was there. They brought some people in to watch what was going on with me.
Oh, students.
And like I said, to see my drooping, my face going to the side, and my numbness, and the next thing you know, she told my mom, I think he's having a stroke right now. This is the first time this is like one of the first time they've actually been able to watch it happening live. So it was basically a teaching experience. They had to end up having to fly me to another hospital in a helicopter. I'm sitting there telling them, no helicopter. And I remember that because I'm like, no helicopter. And they like, we got to get you there as fast as possible, sir, fast as possible. So they had to fly me from one hospital to the University of Cincinnati Hospital. And found out that's like one of the number one heart specialists in the country is at University of Cincinnati Hospital. So it was like, man, they was like, we got to get you there as fast as possible. I'm in the helicopter still pleading them, just put me in an ambulance. Put me in an ambulance. friends. But it's like get there,
Yeah.
and then like I said, that's when they was able to catch it, and it was. Like I said, through the grace of God, I pulled through that without having to go into a full stroke. During that same time, finding out my brother's girlfriend at the time, her sister went in the same day I went in with a full stroke. She was down the hall from me.
What do you think, before we wrap up, what do you think all this has bought you and taught you? That's a lot of things.
After all that, like I said, I just went from the mind frame of everything could have been over that day. That day, everything could have been over. And from that moment, I had to go back months after months after months, keep going back to get CAT scans, keep going back to get x-rays, MRIs, EKGs. I had to keep going back months after months after months. And then my older brother, we had a nightclub together. And normally every year he'd take employees, fly them out to places, Chicago, New York, Vegas, Atlanta, many places. He fly them out. We gonna have a good time because we had a good year. We gonna fly everybody out. We gonna have a good time, celebrate. And this was right after I got out of the hospital, and he asked if I was ready to go. So I asked my doctor, and the doctor said, "Yeah, just take it easy. You can fly. Just take it easy. It's been a few months. Just take it easy. We haven't seen the bacteria come back. Just take it easy." So I was able to fly. We went to New York, had a good time, came back. Once I got back from New York, went to my next appointment. Took me through another CAT scan, and everything still checked out that, the bacteria was gone. I then had a meeting with my family and told them I'm ready to go. Because I always had the plan to move back to Atlanta. Always. That was always my plan. After I was old enough, I was always my plan to go back to Atlanta, man. Atlanta, my home. But during that time, I ended up doing so much, opening up clubs in Middletown, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, and Louisville. I was working on getting a place in Louisville. So then it's like I was already planning to go back to Atlanta. Once I started the project in Charlotte, I said, you know what? It's either Charlotte or Atlanta. Atlanta only 3 hours away from Charlotte, so I can either live in Charlotte or I can just go ahead and back to Atlanta, and I can still run the venue in Charlotte because it's kind of short away. And then next Indianapolis came up. This Indianapolis project came up. My chairman at that time, he's in the hotel business. He's in many different avenues, and he's also in the mall business. So, when I got the call to say, Keith, I need you to go check out this mall, we already had a shopping plaza here. And I'm thinking that's what he's talking about. So when I got here, I'm like, okay, what am I looking at? He say, listen, just let me know what you think. Think about it, I already know what this place is because I've been here before. I already know what this place is. He said, where are you at? So I say, I'm at the Indy Mall. And he say, no, you're at the wrong place. And then finally, he sent me the address. And it was the shopping mall. And when I pulled up, it was an actual mall. And I'm like, but when I get there, it was dark outside. It was nighttime. And all the parking lot lights was out. Mm-hmm. So I tell him, why would we buy a closed mall? He said, it's not closed. Just go inside. But I'm telling him on the phone, like, listen, all of the lights are out. Like, what? He said, maybe somebody vandalized the mall or something. Just go inside. So I go inside, and it was actually open. Just the parking lot lights was out. And I didn't understand that. And then finally he said, I give you 24 hours to make your decision. And I'm thinking about, make my decision for what? And he said, I give you 24 hours. You let me know if you want the mall or not, because if not, I'll give it to somebody else. And I say, listen, I can't make a decision that fast. I'm in the transition of moving. And I finally just kind of walked through the mall, looked at everything that was going on, introduced myself to people, and then finally I had to weigh the options. Do I go back to Atlanta where I got to start everything from scratch? Because I ain't got no club there no more. I shut all the clubs down that I had or that I had partnerships with. I left them all. And, when you go from 7 bars and nightclubs open all at one time, I shut down all of that residual income, all because of this ruptured appendix.
Wow.
Because I looked at it like maybe it's because I was going too much and too hard because I was just me. I looked at it, I was me.
You was wearing a lot of hats.
I was me because I was me, and that's how I always, like, after so many traumatic experiences, not with just health, but so many different experiences with different promoters, different DJs, different owners. I looked at it like, no, I don't want to be under nobody else. Because at one point in time, I was also a manager at Foot Locker. That's when I had my first revelation of saying I no longer want to be someone's employee.
Yeah.
Because I was going so hard with DJing, and I was a manager. So think about it, I had to open the store, close the store, and then my manager at the time, my other manager at the time, was going on vacation, 13-day vacation. So I had to do 13 days straight by myself and still DJ. That's a lot. My body shut down on me within like the 7th day of working. To the point where they had to call the ambulance to wake me up, and they put the little smelling stuff up my nose, and I popped up like it was nothing. But then my job still wanted me to come to work.
Sound like you was doing too much.
So
man.
think about it.
Yeah.
All of the stuff I was doing,
Yeah.
and then with your job wanting you to be there, think about it. They called me off for that day because I had that experience. They called me off. You can take the day off. We expect you back tomorrow. I went back the next day. I walked into the store, looked at everything, looked at the options, shut the gate, and I walked out, never went back. And that was the last day I ever had a 9-to-5.
Wow.
After that, I put all of my energy into my craft of what I did with music and with entertainment. Everything went into that after that point.
So when you decided to say yeah to
Once
the
I
project
said
in
yeah,
Indianapolis, then what?
man, that just opened up a whole nother avenue for me, because I think about from Foot Locker, that's the only time I was ever in retail. Now I'm running a whole retail.
I guarantee you that had to be a beautiful experience for you, because this is what I tell people. And, you know, man, you became really good friends. It's amazing how the universe puts people together.
We ain't good friends.
Yeah,
We
well,
ain't
we
good
are.
friends.
Yeah, we are.
Fine. We all right, but you know what I'm saying? It's cool. It's cool.
Well, check this out. Check this out. The fact that you found your purpose and your joy in creating something you've been doing from day one, and now putting that into action, you can even see the smile on your face. Every time I see you, you're smiling and you enjoy what you're doing.
Because I put myself into that character now, because I feel like
What's the character? Hold down. What's the character?
Listen, I'm entertainment now, baby. I'm entertainment now. Like, listen, if it ain't like, so my brand is Good Vibes. I'm the CEO and founder of my brand. And, you know, if it wasn't for this young man inside of a Finish Line store saying, put my brand on some shorts, my brand probably wouldn't be nowhere right now, because I put it on one pair of shorts. He wore them in the store because he said they can wear athletic wear inside of Finish Line. I put them on one pair of shorts, and then every person in his store that was his employee wanted some. And then I started putting it on hats, putting it on T-shirts. But now, you know, seeing my stuff inside of, you know, stores like TJ Maxx, Ross, Marshalls, Target, Myers, Walmart, City Trends, Urban Trends, places like that, seeing my brand there, it's like, yeah, woo woo too. I got somewhere. I get royalties on stuff that people buy out of them stores. But I look at it like, now I'm one of one, because I know first and foremost, can't nobody imitate me. Can't nobody do what I do in no way, shape, or form, in any way, because everything I've ever had in nightclub business, bar business, I built them. I renovated them all myself with my hands, because once I found out how to do construction, I didn't need to pay you no more. Only thing I don't do is plumbing and electrical. But once I learned how to build it and frame it and all that,
I've seen you work.
I don't need you no more. I don't need to pay you unless I just want to pay you to help me. Or if I feel too tired to do the job, I'll pay you. I do lighting, visual, equipment, sounding, everything. I do all of that. And it's like when I put together even my endeavors, my performances, my stage plays, my stage performances, my fashion shows, I bring everything I need for my shows. I don't have to rent nothing from nobody.
Keith, let me ask you a question before we wrap up. What you've been through so much, and accomplish your dreams. What do you think is the downfall for young people today? What do you think the downfall is, that a lot of people aren't living that moment? Because like you said, it could have been over.
Yeah. I think I ain't gonna even put it on a young person. I think the downfall for a lot of people,
Okay.
they don't want to step out on the faith. Because why? You feel like I'm not ready to do it. So, like many people have said in a good statement is, a lot of people is afraid of saying yes. It's easy to say no to anything. You can just keep saying no to everything, but because you're afraid of saying yes.
No is easier.
No is a lot easy.
Than it is to say yes and
You know
go
what I'm
out there and
saying?
do it.
So, but at the same time, you got people that have up and left cities that they was born and raised in with zero, with $1, with $100, and look at them today. Like I have a cousin that left Cincinnati, moved to Texas, and never went back to Cincinnati. I don't care if it was to visit. She never wanted to come back. But think about how many people that are like that in the world now that are up and left where they were from, where everything originated from, where they had their whole livelihood at, left, went somewhere else, and now look how accomplished they are.
And Ashley, you've done the same thing with Good Earth. You actually went out on your own and developed the product. How hard was that for you to take a chance on yourself?
Scary, full of fear.
Yeah.
And you have to grab faith over fear. And I've heard fear, false evidence appearing real. So I've got to, it's not even real, really. It's a figment of my imagination. So I've got to grab faith every morning and know that that is an amazing product that I'm super proud of, that's clean, that's good for the body, and helps healing.
What was the strongest part of your journey that literally made you, like we know Keith's journey, but what was it for you, real quickly, that made you say yes when you had said no so many times?
Well, let's be honest. Pain's a motivator. Pain will motivate change. It'll make you reevaluate life in general, And so the pain and the grief of stopping, and also thinking, I'm not going to make somebody else be a millionaire. I'm not going to punch their clock, and I'm not going to, help them fulfill their dream. I need to go do my own dream. And it takes guts and faith to be able to do that, for sure.
I tell people all the time, you want to continue to work for somebody, or are you ready to retire? That's my pitch. That's my slogan.
Well said.
I also got two other slogans.
Wait a minute. Hold your slogan. Hold on. Do you really want to retire? Let's be real.
You
can do what you do and be happy every single day.
You're never gonna fully retire until you sit back and have to do nothing the rest of your life. That's retirement. Okay. When you go into a house or you buy a house where you say, listen, this is the house I'm gonna die in.
Right.
That's retirement. Where I can sit back, my feet up every day. I don't have to go nowhere unless I just want to go somewhere. I don't have to go do anything for anybody unless I feel like doing something for them. I can sit up every day. Flip-flops, shorts, T-shirt, watch TV all day, kick back. But think about it. Doing that, if you just go cold turkey on anything, your body changes.
Yeah.
Your body changes. So I look at it like me, even though I said I won't work for nobody else, because like I said, officially I've been retired since I was like 22 years old. I'm 45. So it's like, but when you sit there and do nothing, your body changes. Your body gets different. And I feel like I don't want my body to change. I want my body to stay the same as what I was when I was 22 traveling the country. I want my body to stay that same way. And like I said, with my brand, with Good Vibes brand, one thing I learned and was taught and was said from multiple different diversities. Do you want to be rich or do you want to be famous? I want to be rich. I don't care about the fame. Just give me the riches. My next thing is stay small and get it all. I can be me and get everything. But when I got anybody else involved with me, that's a conglomerate. But I'ma always preach another thing to you, bro. If you put power with power, it becomes more powerful. So just like you having a show, a radio station, just so you all know, I'm also building a radio station.
And a television
He's also
station.
with me in this radio station. So the one thing that you always supposed to do that a lot of people, and to go back on that one question, a lot of people fail to do is work with each other.
Oh yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
A lot of people refuse to bring in another person to what they got going on because they feel like, no, first of all, you got to question their judgment. You got to question what their thought process is. Is they here for the right purpose, or
It's funny. I just had that post. You must have read my post.
I didn't read your post. I don't read your stuff.
you
I don't read
didn't
your.
read my
No,
post.
I didn't read your. I don't read your stuff. I just get your calls and messages all the time. Keith, come to the station. Okay, fine. What day? What time? Can't be there.
But it's funny that you said that because I wrote something like that. You do have to be careful who you bring in your in your space.
Yeah, not everybody is for the same thing you're for.
Yeah. My last question for both of you guys. Your definition on the word success versus significance. Which one do you want to be?
I want to be successful because I'm gonna always be significant.
Okay. Baby girl?
I like that answer. I was debating between the two, but I mean, success. How do you define that word? First of all, and I'm always significant with God.
Last question for Keith. If you can turn back the hands of time with all the stuff that you've been through and where you at now, what would you do different?
Originally I was an artist before I became anything. I was in commercial art. I drew very well, paint very well,
I've never seen none of this stuff.
pinpoint, pointillism. So this is the thing that you will never see, because when I was graduating high school, someone stole my portfolio.
Oh.
And I was up for an art scholarship that I had already got approved for, but without that portfolio, I didn't have nothing.
It's devastating.
And still to this day, there's many speculations of who people thought took my portfolio. And sometimes you don't want to pinpoint and point fingers at people, but
Right.
at the same time, it's like, the truth is in the pudding. I just look at it like maybe art wasn't supposed to be my thing. Even though I drew very well, I won many competitions. So there's an art competition called VICA. I won many of them competitions. And they give you a jacket, a sport coat, a blazer. And it's like many of them competitions I have a blazer for. That's my accomplishment. I don't need an award, but this blazer tells the story. And I won many of them competitions from first place or second place every single time. And so from that time, I just like, everything you do in your life is changeable. It can be changed. Just depends on what happens during your lifetime. So I feel like until I die, I ain't gonna stop. I'm gonna keep going. Everything with me is interchangeable. So it's like I could be in the mall business now. I can be in many other things now, but I ain't gonna stop doing it. So people always looked at me like, you always want to do everything. There's a whole lot to still be done, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, if I can get into something like what you're doing, like I said, now having a radio station and about to open this radio station, if I can get into a relief cream like what she has, think about it. If I can get into them things, the
Sky's the limit.
it's endless.
Yeah.
Only he can tell me to stop,
Right.
because when it's over. When my time has outlasted itself is when I'm no longer here.
Ashley, your question, with all that you've been through, thank you, and I appreciate you going through the recovering process of alcoholism. You're conquering that. If you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently in your life?
That's a reflecting question. Well, first of all, I think that this is going to sound weird, but I think that having the disease of alcoholism was a blessing, because it's given me an ability to stop and reflect in ways that, had I continued down that path, I don't think I ever would have had that ability. There again, pain motivated change to do something better. And I'm just grateful that I had an awareness to do better, because I was blind, running blind for a long time with no awareness to really anything. And so to be aware is to do better. And I'm grateful for that awareness. So, I mean, of course, there's things in my life I would change, but I can say that because I'm kind of fearless and driven, I don't have a lot of regrets, maybe mistakes, but those were really lessons, expensive lessons. But life's a learning lesson, and it's all in my attitude and my outlook every single day.
Keith, how can the viewers reach out to you and be a part of Good Vibes and everything the Good Vibes is putting out?
Now that I'm dormant here and pretty much stationary here, Washington Square Mall is my home base. 10202 East Washington Street. You can call the number 317-766-7844. My Facebook is Keith Lee Jr. My Instagram is DJ Young Kilo, based off of my DJ name.
How can the viewers reach out to you, Ashley?
You can go to Earth Island Lotion on Instagram or Ashley Jimmy Lynn Rawson on Facebook. And you can email us at earth-island@outlook.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show.
Show.